What is up, Super Spies? Welcome to another episode of the Lunch Table Podcast with Dylan and Akram. We are reviewing episode 3 of Citadel, now out on Amazon Prime. One very curious episode. A lot of questions are being raised, but Akram, why don't we start out with your thoughts?
Sure, yeah. This was a pretty... we talked about it in the episode 1 and 2 review where like I want to see more action, and they showed like some flashbacks here, and it was actually really decent. So we spend a good amount of time back in the past, and there is of course a lot of mention of the past, some new revelations about Abby, which kind of has me shook. And Bernard is still being tortured, but he's a tough guy, so he could take it. But overall, I think it was a pretty good episode. What are your thoughts?
Oh yeah, I think this was a wonderful episode. I think it really, at first it did feel like kind of cheesy to me, like with the whole, action sequences, and it had like predictable moment, and the love thing between Nadia and Mason was like, I was like, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But then when it got to the end with Orlick and he started mentioning Abby to the henchman guy, his name is Anders.
Yeah.
I was like, oh shit, this is actually like getting like really interesting now.
Yeah.
Also, I just love the motif of like the camera like turning upside down. I think that's so cool as a visual like representation. It's like you can't trust anybody, right? It's like once you start thinking your reality of perception of reality is like what you know, it just flips on you, right? So I just love that. That's
a great point, yeah. And I think this show has a lot of different elements that make it very distinct and unique, while also taking elements from, of course, we talked about it before, other spy films. So they flip it, they make it their own thing. So that's pretty cool. Nadia, I like her character change. I thought it was really funny, and I think it was like episode 2 where we get reintroduced to Nadia as like some waitress or something like that. And now she's like very monotone in a way, all down to business. I think it's because she's trying to contain her emotions, because she does care for Mason. We see that they, had sexual relations. And
shit, they got busy, didn't waste any time after that first encounter.
Mason was like this, and she went there. Yeah, I mean, and we also figure a little bit of backstory that Mason doesn't have his mother. He was raised without a mom, right? And Nadia apparently was brought up in Citadel somehow, like her mother was an operative. So I wonder if that'll pop up a little bit later on, because we do see you proposed the question before we started to record, who is she messaging? What is your like thoughts or theories on that?
At first I was thinking maybe she had like a child, like a daughter or a son that she was messaging, and whoever she was messaging, maybe it was like a close contact, and when they said like the package is waiting, maybe I was thinking like, well, it could be her mother too. I don't know. Well, we don't know if her mother's still alive around this time. But I was thinking like it's somebody close to her that doesn't know that she's still alive, and they were like waiting all this time. Maybe they thought she was still dead, because when she lost her memory, that 8 years, that's a long time, right? You probably think somebody's dead by then.
Yeah.
So I was thinking maybe she has like close contact somewhere, because it seems like she has her own resources, outside of Citadel too. And this episode brought up a lot of questions about like where her like true allegiance is, because that scene where Mason was talking to that crime boss, and then he mentioned like I think she was like a double agent for Manticore. So I don't know. I'm really on the fence about where her loyalties lie.
Yeah, well, diplomacy is a really complicated thing, and I think that someone in that group is working both sides in order to garner peace, or perhaps more power, but I think power is very cliche when we see it now in film and TV. So I think it's a little bit more philosophical. I hope so. It's a little bit more philosophical, because every spy thing we always see, it's like, oh, power, money, blah, 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 blah. I want to see more of like a philosophical type of power grab in a way. I think that makes it a lot more bigger. So hopefully we get to see that, because this is a very big show. And then that'll really, set it'll define them as a different type of spy movie or show. Anyway, so we also see Bernard Orlick. He is still being tortured. They're trying to get a password from him. He does some quips, of course. He's a very funny guy. But we also see that apparently they can extract memories now through this drill type of thing. Yeah, it's kind of fake, but whatever. So they have Anders basically try to extract it. But it was revealed that Dylan, tell us.
Mason's wife is actually Anders' ex. Ooh, name drop.
Yeah, yeah. I see.
Blew some minds in the house. I was like, oh shit, yeah. Well, first of all, the balls on Orlick must be made of pure iron because they're just so heavy. I was like, damn. In this episode, he just ate that whole interrogation. Stanley Tucci's an amazing actor.
Yeah.
He just owned that whole scene. That's why I love his character in this show. But yeah, like when they're about to extract that thing from his mind and he pulls that information out, all of a sudden it's like, how much does this guy know, right? It seems like he has like information on everybody, like allies, enemies. Like he's probably like the Nick Fury of this universe, right? So I thought that was so cool, like how he just pulled that out of his ass and he was just like, oh yeah, by the way, your ex is still alive. I was like, oh shit. And it's just weird that it's like Anders' ex is actually still related, or set up with Mason Kane too. But we saw at the end of the episode too, just jumping forward a bit, apparently like she was an agent for Citadel too. So now I'm wondering, like, is she like still an active operative, or does she not know? Like, did her memories also get erased? I'm thinking like she still knows, but I want to get your thoughts on it.
Yeah, I want her actually to have her memory erased, but I really don't think that's the case. Because there's certain subtle cues in her facial expression that's like, one, you could think, oh, she really misses Mason. Right. But she didn't behave that way in the other episodes. She was more like stuck up and like really she doesn't want to be here.
Right.
So they put that in the right place at the right time, I think, like her facial expression. So that's why I think like, oh, okay, yeah, she probably knows something. And that sucks because they have a kid together. Right. And, I don't like that. That's going to be a really complex and sticky situation to maneuver out of.
Well, that makes me wonder if it's her losing her memories because they had a whole life together for 8 years. Unless it's like a Sharon Carter thing where like she like kept tabs on him for Orlick or something.
Yeah, or I don't know. I really do think Manticore and Citadel are basically the same shit, different smell. So I think it's just one has like probably an advantage somehow, but not really. I think Manticore. I think there's perhaps Manticore actually is Citadel, but like a different version. Maybe they're not explaining everything right now. Like we're gonna see a lot more revealed, and Mason Kane is the perfect, as you say, foil or something to uncover these things. It's kind of like Kamala Khan in Marvel's Avengers is like introduced to this world now. So I really think that Citadel is like a hellhole. It's really bad. And Nadia knows, Orlick knows, and Abby knows. So, but, Manticore isn't really better either.
Right.
Yeah, I think she's in on it, but it's gonna be so complicated when she actually sees Anders eventually. That's gonna be like,
ooh. It's gonna be a weird confrontation.
Oh my gosh, horror. Yeah. So
I'm wondering too, like with Mason, because it seems like Nadia may be a double agent, but I'm also thinking like, what if Mason himself is also a double agent kind of for Manticore? Because it seems like his previous life, he was like a very cocky agent. Maybe he was playing both sides, and that could be interesting too. Because like now that he remembers, he's like, oh, maybe I don't want to go through with it, right? But I don't know.
What confuses me is why did Bernard try to restore Mason's memory? Unless Bernard was always planning to kill Mason a little bit later on, but Bernard kept tabs on Mason during that 8 years too. So why you didn't do it earlier? Right. So it's like, is Mason actually innocent? I really don't know. It's really inconsistent, but I don't think that's a flaw in this series. I actually think that's a strength, and it's going to be unfolded throughout the rest of the episodes in a good way, in a good manner. Hopefully, that's what I'm hoping. I don't know. We reviewed Hello Tomorrow, and we thought all these things that you never know. But yeah, what would you rate this episode?
I'd probably give it a 9 out of 10. I think it just came together really nicely. I thought the story kind of like escalated and it got more interesting. The action in this episode was, kind of something you'd expect from a spy movie, but nonetheless, I thought it was still great. I love Nadia and Mason's like I guess combative chemistry.
Mhm.
Like they just back off each other so well.
Mhm.
Damn, Richard Madden must have played fucking Rollerdrome for this episode, because the way he was like fighting with the skis and he was doing that weird like gun shit, I was like, oh shit. But yeah, 9 out of 10 for me. How would you rate it?
Yeah, I think I would rate it a 9 out of 10. Plenty of nice twists thrown in there, and over the top action scenes that we would expect from this type of show, an expensive show at that. I wish that it still got a little bit brighter in some scenes, like, but I guess that's we're just in for it. Yeah, it's gonna be dark throughout the whole thing. But yeah, that is our review for Citadel episode 3. Again, now streaming on Prime. Go check it out, and also like this video, please. That'll greatly help out our channel. Yesterday was May the 4th, so may the Force be with you. Check out our Star Wars Vision Season 2 reviews, and also Young Jedi, so you have kids around. You can check if that show is safe for them or not. But Dylan, as always, take us away.
Yeah, and check out our Star Wars Revisited episodes as well for, I guess, May 5th, isn't it? Revenge of the 5th?
Yeah.
Star Wars week, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, guys, check us out wherever you're listening to. Share, like, anything helps the channel. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Anchor, we're all on there. And Instagram as well. So yeah, thank you guys so much, and until then, thanks for having lunch with us.
See you guys.